The Tuesday, February 4th, 2025 meeting of the Eden Prairie City Council is now called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's typical at this time of the meeting for me to read an open podium invitation. Open podium is an opportunity for Eden Prairie residents to address the City Council on issues related to Eden Prairie City government. These open podium times occur prior to each council meeting. The council meetings typically are the first and third Tuesday of each month. Open podiums occur from 6:30 to 6:55 right here in the council chamber. If you wish to speak at open podium, please do contact the city manager's office at 952-949-8412. By noon of, if you need to get that, no, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. By noon of the meeting date with your name, your phone number, now I'm going to check my phone number and subject matter. Open podium is not recorded or televised. If you have questions about open podium, please do contact the city manager's office. Mr. Getcho, do you want to introduce, we have two items with prop this evening, if you want to introduce those.
We do, Mayor. Thank you. Both items are tied to prop. We've done both of these for a number of years. This one's more recent, but I know it's for the last few years. We have our Eden Prairie liquor stores partner with prop for a dollar drive. And I'm going to let our liquor operations manager, Jaime Urbina, come up and describe what we've done and we did in the month of November, how much money was raised, and then we have a check to give to prop. And I know our prop executive director is here as well. So there is the city's favorite Kansas City Chiefs fan.
You're in luck this year and last year and the year before.
Yeah, so go Chiefs. All right. All right, so as Rick said, the liquor operations partnered with prop to hold a dollar drive-in back in November, and we invited customers to donate to the food shelf. So we just like to take this opportunity to thank the Eden Prairie liquor customers for the generosity, and they helped us raise $11,593.31, which was a record high. And they also helped our Prairie View store, so it was our liquor store 3, win a MMBA contest, which was hosted by Miller Lite, which also gave us an additional $1,000 contest winnings, which was donated to prop as well, for a grand total of $12,593.31. So with the help of the mayor, obviously we wanted to give the check to prop today for the generosity of all our customers that came through.
Do you want me to come down and we'll do
Yeah.
a photo up?
I know, yes, I was going to say we have a few of our liquor store managers here as well, so come on up, here she comes.
Please come on in. Yeah, you probably ought to be on one side. You probably want to stay around as well. So I don't know who hangs on to the
Oh.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, I'll take that.
So I'll be presenting to Jennifer a plaque in just a moment. Second item on our agenda relating to prop tonight is a proclamation talking about the Empty Bowls, which is a fundraiser that prop has had going on for the last 15 years or so. It's really just one of those nice community events. I talk about like the community amenities that we have that pull us together, that draw us together. If you haven't participated in this, it's really good soup. And it's held at, I believe, St. Andrews again. I haven't actually read it through. Is that accurate? Yes, they've been so great to allow it to be hosted. So I'd like to read a proclamation. City of Eden Prairie, Hennepin County, Minnesota, Empty Bowls Day. Whereas PROP has provided food, support, and compassion to the residents of Eden Prairie and Chanhassen for 54 years. And whereas PROP served 1,406 households, totaling 5,001, these are pretty amazing numbers, 5,164 individuals last year. And whereas PROP is considered an essential organization by the City of Eden Prairie, our local residents, the school district, the faith community, civic organizations, and businesses alike. And whereas the annual Empty Bowls event has served as a cherished community get-together to raise funds for PROP since 2010, and whereas the 2025 Empty Bowls event will support PROP's mission to provide service to our neighbors in need. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Eden Prairie, Minnesota does hereby proclaim Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 as Empty Bowls Day in the City of Eden Prairie and urges all citizens to support PROP. Ronald A. Case, Mayor, on behalf of our council members Kathy Nelson, Mark Freiberg, PG Narayan, and Lisa Toomey. And I'll come down and present this and maybe another photo op. So. Some comments after that, you're certainly welcome to as well.
Thank you.
Shake your hand too, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. It's just a thrill. This is an event that we have looked forward to for every year for a long time. I can't believe it's been going on for 15 years. I don't think I've been at all of them going back to the very beginning, but a lot of them. And it's just a time-honored and treasured event that brings the community together. Very simple meal. So all the soup is donated by local restaurants. We have a wonderful woman who is a potter who makes bowls, and she's going to be doing a pottery demonstration. Local children's choirs and the community band and ensembles will be playing. So, and again, it'll be a wonderful time. So I just want to take a moment to thank the city for its incredible partnership with PROP for, the 54 years of our existence. We couldn't do what we do without the incredible support that you all provide to us. And a special thank you to the Eden Prairie Liquor Stores. Wow, what an amazing outpouring of support, and thank you for being a partner with us. They do so many things, the Happy Hour for Hunger in November, right around Give to the Max Day. This particular drive has been a great source of support. So for this continued partnership and for the thousands of people that we serve, and more every day, we are very grateful. So thank you, and we hope to see everyone February 18th at St. Andrew Lutheran Church.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
And give our gratitude also to your staff and to your massive list of volunteers. I always say to people that Eden Prairie has just really a phenomenal list of nonprofit charity organizations that do work that government really can't do. And so you're a part of an outreach beyond what we can do with our tax dollars. And we really appreciate what you do for people in this community who are food insecure. And yeah, I know you do other things as well, but in need, and along with PROP and Prop Shop and Meals on Wheels and Crime Prevention Fund. I always have to mention that. And of course, our Eden Prairie Community Foundation and our Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools. I'm sure I'm leaving some out, but we just have amazing nonprofits. But PROP is just right up there at the top. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. So approval of the agenda. Let me ask council members first. Are there any items or anything you'd like to add, or maybe under council member reports? And if not, is there someone that would make a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. All right, moving on to minutes. Any council member have any concerns about anything that was in either minute, the workshop, or the meeting held back on January 21st? Any edits, any concerns? If not, is there a motion that we could approve both of them?
Move to approve the following city council minutes. The city council workshop held Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. City council meeting held Tuesday, January 21st, 2025.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. All right. One of the shortest consent calendars I think I've seen in a while. Again, for anyone listening in at home or in the audience, consent calendar just clumps together items that they're important, but they may not need further conversation or discussion. That being said, council members, any concerns with any of these 4 items that you wish to pull from the list or learn more about? If not, is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar A to D?
Move to approve items A to D on the consent calendar.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye opposed. All right. We have one public hearing this evening. Mr. Getchell, I'll turn it back to you.
Mayor, correction, we have 2, but the first one, second one's a code amendment.
Okay,
but that's
I
okay.
did see that. Nope, you're right.
So the first one is a development project, Nexus Innovation Center by Endeavor. You may remember, you saw this project or something very close to it just last summer, last July, because at that time, the applicant was requesting to build an industrial building on the 14-acre American Family Insurance campus property, south or north of 62 on Blue Circle Drive. They are back because there were some changes to their plans and their approval, and they're coming back through the process because they're building 2, not 1, separate industrial buildings. So as I mentioned last July, there was approval for 1 building, about 185,000, close to 186,000 square feet. The new proposal that you're going to hear about is 2 different buildings, one just over 92,000 square feet and the other one just over 82,000 square feet. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this project at their January meeting, and the applicant is here to provide an overview of the project, and staff and the applicant could answer any questions that the council or the public may have about this project.
Please come forward. Name, address, company that you work for.
Sure, Mr. Mayor, council members, my name is Joe Bergman. My address is 885 Linwood Avenue in St. Paul, and my company is Endeavor Development. And as Mr. Getchell noted, I'm here to present on the Nexus project, which is the redevelopment of the former American Family Insurance campus. And as Mr. Getchell noted, we have updated the project to go from a single 185,000 square foot building to 2 smaller buildings to facilitate a build-to-suit project for H.M. Craig, a locally based provider of backup power solutions. They will occupy in full the larger building, the 92,000.
You could just move the mic a little bit closer. Thank you.
Sorry.
Nope.
But as I know, they will occupy in full the larger of the 2 buildings. So the second building would be speculative, meaning we're still seeking tenants, but we're in a number of conversations, but nothing to announce at this point. There's the location, as again, Mr. Getchell noted, on the north side of 62, right where it merges with 212. And as he noted, we came through and had it rezoned to I-2. We're demolishing the obsolete 3-building office campus, and then Minnetonka is actually providing the utilities, both sanitary and water, and then road as well. And they've provided comments to staff that we have addressed.
If you can leave that up just a second, I have a question. Rick, while this is up, Mr. Getchell. So in general, does the city, this is more curiosity, but also for our residents, because a lot of people don't realize they would think anything on the north side of 62 belongs to Minnetonka. So in general, since Minnetonka, or the 62 takes a dip there, if you see the trees on the left side and there's a road there, if you cut that across, is that all Eden Prairie?
Yes, yes, it is, Mayor. So it would be that property, and then there actually is another property, possibly for development too, that would be to the east, but that's correct. It would be kind of running a line there through that project location what would be north of that all the way across would be Eden Prairie. Not a lot of people know that.
Including the pond all the way on the east side, that would be inside Eden Prairie?
Correct.
It's interesting.
It is.
Again, I don't know that a lot of people realize that's Eden Prairie up there.
And I might be going out on a limb here, but there was a time, I think about 6 or 7 years ago, because we were talking about this quite a bit, where I think Minnetonka actually gave Eden Prairie some of their property. So I'd like to tell people that we went into Minnetonka and annexed a portion of their city. And it might be some of that location, but the American Family Insurance campus had been in Eden Prairie for quite some time.
Let's not share that too much. I don't want them to reciprocate or suddenly begin to. If I was planning to take the bottom 8 counties of Minnesota, I kind of don't want this to start up among all of our sister cities, but
They offered.
all right.
It wasn't.
Thank you. Appreciate you letting me cut in there. It was a great map, and I just, again, it's an area that a lot of people don't realize that's Eden Prairie. So
Sure.
take it away. Thank you.
So here's the updated site plan. As you can see, the larger building, 92,000 square feet on the left, and then that would be the H.M. Craig facility. And now we've listed here a number of the sustainable strategies we'll be employing as part of our project. Specifically, we're recycling a lot of the materials that will be demolished from the buildings themselves, the existing buildings. There'll be infrastructure for EV vehicles and solar panels on the spec building, and there will actually be a number of chargers on the build-to-suit building. And then we'll be using low VOC materials and Energy Star appliances in the tenant build-outs. And then we'll be participating in Excel's EDA program as well. A couple other notes there. And then these are the elevations for the buildings. And these elevations are going to look very similar to what you approved this summer. So we've got painted architectural precast panels with a stone veneer running on accenting most of the entrances, as well as a few of the breaks along the east, west, and south facades. And then we've also got metal canopies and sunshades at the primary entrances. And then if you are looking at the third one down or the fourth one down there, you'll see a sort of a long, skinny brown line on either end, and that's the secured parking area that the tenant has requested. They've had some vandalism issues at their existing facility, and they're fairly sensitive to being able to lock that off. So we've also added a slide here with detail on the fencing proposed. So it's specifically a product created by a company called Trex. It's a composite made from recycled wood and recycled plastics. And we've chosen the saddle color that you can see at the top there, highlighted with the yellow box, that we believe will age a little bit, and the color will fade a little bit over time, but we think even as it fades, it should fade closer to being like the rest of the building. And then these are the elevations for the second building. Very similar in design, very similar in materials. A slightly smaller building, so there's only 2 entrances here rather than sort of 3 primary entrances there. And there's a rendering of the building itself. And then this project actually utilizes some of the same design features we used on other projects in Maple Grove. So I've got some images from the existing buildings we've built over the last 3 years in Maple Grove. And then there's just a few images of kind of interior space. And with that, we're humbly requesting site plan and preliminary plat approval. And we're looking to, again, revitalize an obsolete office campus and turn it into something a little more productive and be a very nice representation of what is, in fact, in Eden Prairie, and be a nice gateway into the city. So with that said, I'd happily answer any questions that council has.
Kind of a gateway into Minnetonka, but I kind of get your point.
Sure, fair enough.
No, thank you. Council, any questions at this point? We can always have a public hearing, and you can ask questions after. If you have one now, please go ahead.
No, I don't have a question. I just have a comment.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I mean, when I read through the proposal, we keep on pushing EV, all the right thing, you guys put it in there, and thank you. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Okay, let's have the public hearing, and we can, again, continue our conversation as a council afterwards.
Thank you.
So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the city council on this issue this evening? All right. Seeing none, council, you can either just close the public hearing portion, we can have more discussion, you can go ahead and make the entire motion if you feel this is pretty perfunctory, and then we can still have all kinds of discussion. What's your pleasure? You want to make the entire motion? Sure, go ahead, somebody. Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. I move to close the public hearing and adopt a resolution approving a preliminary plat dividing one lot into two lots on 14.35 acres, and direct staff to prepare a development agreement incorporating staff and commission recommendations and council conditions, and authorize the issuance of an early land alteration permit for Nexus Innovation Center 2 at the request of the developer, subject to the conditions outlined in the permit.
Second.
All right. Any discussion or questions? I have just two small points to make. Go ahead, why don't you start?
Just one small point. I do appreciate that you've got the solar going on to the one that's going to be tenanted right away, and that you have the availability basics for it in on the other building. That's what we're hoping to see in all of the new buildings in Eden Prairie, as it seems to work very well. So thank you for that.
So my two points, I guess, to make. One is just I was curious about the security parking, and you explained that well. And I'm anticipating we might be seeing more of that as more and more buildings are built, just with the lay of the land today in our environment. Secondly, I just always a little bit curious when projects get built in cities contiguous to us, including, this happened in Eden Prairie once, where sewer and water gets supplied by the neighbor. And so we had a case where Settlers Ridge West, I believe, was in Chanhassen, and then Eden Prairie, they could not get sewer and water to it, and we supplied it. We actually got a fee in that case because I think it cost us maybe extra to be able to supply it. In this case, everything's right in the ground, right? So it's just a question of attaching, hooking up. Minnetonka's pleased, I suppose, because they get revenue. So is this, Robert, is this, from what your experience in other cities, fairly normal when projects get built like this?
Yeah, Mayor, Case Council, there are a number of joint power agreements or cooperative agreements that we have with neighboring cities to provide sewer service. Either we're providing it for somebody in their community because it makes more sense or it's easier for us to do it, or they're doing that for us. So in this case, Minnetonka is providing water and sewer, and they always have for this parcel. And that goes back to a 1977 agreement that we entered into with Minnetonka to allow them. We provided some funding for the initial capital costs. We then assessed the owner at that time for those costs so we could recoup our city. Minnetonka does all the billing and they do the maintenance on those water and sewer mains. And that's all spelled out in an agreement dated 1977. So that's very common, quite frankly, in the metro area.
That's actually helpful. Thank you for the clarification. Council, anything else before we actually take a vote? Okay, with that, then, we've had a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, passes unanimous. Welcome. Wish you the best. I hope you lease quickly that second building. I'm sure you will. It's a nice-looking building. It's a great location near Eden Prairie, in Eden Prairie, but also near Minnetonka and kind of in Minnetonka. All right. Sounds good. Mr. Getchell, we have a second public hearing, but it's on a code amendment. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Yes, this is a code amendment that is not part of a development application before you. It's an amendment to our zoning code, Chapter 11. And it's to first reading of an ordinance that would allow office and medical use in a public zoning district with specific criteria. And the reason is with the purchase of the Unified Campus on Valley View Road by the school district, of which you approved last year, and there was a rezoning process to a public use from a previous, a different use at that time, We do know that, and we've heard this, and you know this because they've talked about it, that the school is occupying a good portion, the majority of the building. You've been there. We've had a couple different events there, but there is maybe portions of the building that they would want to lease for office use or business use to a non-public user. And their hope is they've said that it could be good synergy with the school curriculum that's there or the school, but still maybe a business private use at some point in time. So up until this point, we would not allow for those business uses, office uses in those public districts, but we're saying with this code amendment that we would do that in the case of when the primary use in the public zoning district is a school building. So my point there being that there are other publicly zoned parcels, but we don't want to necessarily open the door up to all of those buildings being office use. We'd really like to try to apply this to the circumstance that exists on Valley View. And to do that, it would be a code amendment, and this is a code amendment that was being proposed. This was, and this should have, as you know, it was an office building previously. So allowing some office use should have absolutely no impact on the neighborhood, the surrounding area, the traffic. That's what it was previously. So the Planning Commission heard this at their January meeting and unanimously recommended approval as well. We do need to hold a public hearing because it's a Chapter 11 amendment to a zoning ordinance, and staff could certainly answer any more questions that you may have.
How is this different than the city leasing part of this very building we're sitting in to C.H. Robinson and then UNFI over the years?
Sure, and I'll let Julie weigh in, but I think the main piece is that this building is not zone public.
Mayor, members of the council, that's exactly correct. This property is zoned I-2, and it was zoned I-2 prior to the city purchasing and occupying this building. And as part of the original PUD, a waiver was granted to allow office use on the majority of the building. So the way the I-2 zone reads, our use as a city function would be permitted here.
Interesting. I would have thought this was publicly zoned.
It's a great question. I mean, it's the first thing that came up in terms of, well, here you are in City Center and we leased to private businesses, but we're not zone public.
Interesting. Okay. Council, any other questions before we open this up as a public hearing? And again, you can ask your questions later as well. Okay. This is a public hearing on this amendment to a Chapter 11 ordinance allowing office and medical uses within a publicly zoned building. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the City Council on this issue this evening? If not, this feels fairly housekeeping. If I'm wrong, cut right in, but if not, go ahead and make a motion to close the public hearing and then go ahead and make the rest of the motion if you wish.
Okay, I'll move to close the public hearing and approve the first reading of an ordinance to amend Chapter 11 for office and medical use, medical office uses in the public zoning district in certain situations.
Second.
Is there any further discussion, questions,
I
comments?
do have one question.
Sure.
Are we expecting it to be a defined area between the school and the leasable area so that you don't have a public building open to the public where school children can go into and escape the school?
Mayor, members of the council, in conversations with the school district, they've indicated that they would be likely leasing floor area on the third floor.
That raises a good question, though. Are there limits in our understanding to what percentage of the building can then become basically tax producing, a private entity?
The way the code amendment is drafted is that the private office use or medical office use would have to be accessory to the school use. So it's not defined in terms of either square footage or percentage, but I think a reasonable application would be at least the majority of the square footage of the building would be used for school purposes.
Do you see any potential abuse if we did not specify or have greater specificity within the ordinance, that we could have a situation arise where it's 99, I don't know what advantage or disadvantage that would be, because it was before, when it was UNFI, it was, a corporate building. But would there be a problem if it was suddenly 75%, 80%?
Mayor, members of the council, I wouldn't anticipate a problem from a functionality standpoint, from a policy standpoint, if they came forward with a proposal that staff didn't feel met the intent of the amendment or the ordinance in place at the time. We would engage in further conversations, and it might trigger an additional process. Maybe that's a PUD waiver, maybe that's a code amendment, but we would work towards a solution on that.
And Maggie, as our attorney, does this conversation we're having right here at the moment constitute a legal trail, a thread that would show if there was ever any discrepancy or misunderstanding, we could go back to our minutes and see that, no, this was our intent?
Yeah, I think it certainly would if this ever came up. I mean, this would be evidence of the council's intent or of staff's intent in proposing this ordinance, just like any other document that the city might produce or something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll just add too, and who knows what happens in 10, 15, 20 years. School could say, tassel program no longer needs to be here. Now we want to lease out 2/3. We want to lease 80%. Those things could all happen, but I think they would need, and I'm hearing from the attorney and Julie, they would need to come back through the city council. And you may be open to that.
Right.
And we could be, because again, it used to be an office.
Right.
And we may be okay with that, but they would have to come back through. But that could very well happen.
Yeah, I don't have enough understanding really tonight of the potential ramifications, good or bad, of any of this. But I just want to keep our power and control, in the mix. And as you hint at, there might be other public buildings. The county owns buildings in our city. I mean, there's might be precedent that we, with this ordinance, want to make sure that we have a kind of an understanding and a handle on what the implications are. Council, anything else before, let's see, we have a motion first and a second, right? Okay, so anything else before we take the vote? All those in favor of this ordinance amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? This motion passes unanimous as well. Next on the agenda is the payment of claims of council. It's the list of basically checks that have been cut since the last meeting. Anyone have any questions or items you want to find out more about on the long pages long list of expenditures? If not, is there a motion to approve the payment of claims as submitted?
Move to approve the payment of claim as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll. Yeah, thank you. No, I'm glad you're keeping up with it. I had it. I just wanted to ask if you had any discussion. No, you're good. Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Freiberg.
Aye.
Councilmember Narayan.
Aye.
Councilmember Nelson.
Aye.
Councilmember Toomey.
Aye.
Mayor Case.
Aye. All right, council, Mr. Getchell, is there anything else to come before the council this evening?
There is not.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn the city council meeting tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, oppose, unanimous. This meeting is adjourned.